Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and Gavaliers. As usual, I'd like to make a couple announcements before the meeting starts. Mute your microphone when not speaking to not disturb the speaker and our audience members. Make sure there's no loud background audio going on to not disturb the audience. And support the speakers with your warm jazz hands when they are finished. Actually, so I'll take it straight to our Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, I'll take it, no problem. So, good afternoon, Toastmasters and Gavaliers. Today we have a wonderful program lineup. With that, let me call on Timer. Mr. Timer, give us your role, please.
As the timer, I will time each segment of our meeting. Speeches 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, my light will turn green. At 6 minutes, it will turn yellow. At 7 minutes, it will turn red. For table topics questions, the answers are from 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, my light will be green. At 1.5 minutes, yellow. And at 2 minutes, red. The next part that I time is the evaluations from 2 to 4 minutes. At 2 minutes, again, green. 3 minutes, yellow. 4 minutes, red. That is the timer's job this meeting. And to keep us on track, make sure that each segment aligns with our schedule. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Grammarian's role is to monitor the language or usage of the English language to make sure there's no misuse where the subject and verb do agree. I will make note of any quotes or any words outside of our word of the day.
And Keisha, would you please be the general evaluator for today?
Yes, I will be the general evaluator. As the general evaluator, it is my responsibility to ensure the meeting flows. We stay on time, we stay on task according to the agenda. Of course, I cannot do this without a team.
Thank you so much. I knew you meant the Toastmaster president. We just created a new position.
So, yes, Peter just had some incidents, so he cannot attend today's meeting as a speaker.
Maybe I can give a speech.
Oh, that would be great. Otherwise, the people will say I divert the enjoyment time from all of us. So, thank you.
It is my honor to bring up introduce our first speaker of today, a distinguished Toastmaster.
Okay. I'll take it from here.
Roger.
Distinguished Toastmaster Taylor. Today I'll make a presentation on soft skills. Soft skills versus hard skills. Really. I had the opportunity to interview an HR professional. And my question to her was about soft skills. And I needed her to define that for me, give me the difference in it, and what the consequences would be if a person could not pass the soft skills test, which is incognito. You don't know that that's what they're doing, but that's exactly what they're doing. Here's an overview. Part 1, 5 to 7 minutes. Emotional intelligence and cultural definition. All soft skills is good home training, manners, common courtesies. That's all a soft skill is. I asked if the person could not pass a soft skill interview, regardless of how many degrees they had, what would be the consequences? And she said, if they cannot pass the soft skills test, we don't care how many hard skills they have, how many degrees they have, because we don't want a toxic personality in the workplace. That means that good manners, when we talk about good manners and home training, we're just talking about yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. We're talking about please and thank you. and doing a kind deed or gesture for someone, opening the door or helping a handicapped person, all of that is about putting yourself in someone else's shoes and showing empathy. And that's what it's all about. So when we talk about cultural differences, we talk about helping one another. We're talking about being a community advocate. We're talking about respecting the elders, self care, and self respect. And if you show me that you don't have any self respect, I know for a fact you can't have enough respect for me because self respect is always a priority. When we talk about self respect, there's some things called emotional intelligence, and that's where the empathy comes in. There are four dimensions. There's drive, knowledge, strategy, and actions. And all of these you really learn at home. As children, when we talk about respect for the elders and empathy, we're talking about greeting elders with a handle. Now, in African American culture here in the United States, enslaved people were not allowed to call other enslaved people or black people Mr. or Mrs. Mr. was an abbreviation for master, and mistress or Mrs. was an abbreviation for mistress. Well, enslaved people couldn't be masters or mistresses of any sort, so we had to put a handle on our elders' name by calling them auntie. So it would be like Uncle Horace or Auntie Anna. Anyway, we had to put those type of handles on there. It would be like brother, sister. That's where that comes from. And cousin, we'll say cuz or cousin, but we had to put those handles on there just to show respect for the elders in the African American community. Back to common courtesies, visiting the sick and the shut-ins. This respect for the elders' wisdom and their conversations and their interviews must all take place because they are a book of wisdom, and we should always honor and respect them, especially our parents, which is almost something, it's so obscure now. So I have to ask, is this your parent that you're talking to like this? Because parents have started to become friends of the students or the children, which is, there's a thin line there that we need not cross. There are certain things that we do, family business, public versus private, the dirty language. So there must be a certain amount of pride that you carry in your tone, in your pitch, in your appearance. You know, we were not allowed to go out of the house in rough, dry clothes. That was part of our self pride or our self respect. You know, you don't go out with rollers in your hair and do rags. No, we didn't do that. Or at least that was the teaching when I grew up. And keep in mind that I'm 70 years old, so you know where that's going. But anyway, these soft skills is just about being nice, being courteous, having a constant smile on your face. You know, just paying attention to others as opposed to just yourself. And as we do this, we talk about personal hygiene when it comes to self respect. So, what does hygiene have to do with soft skills? Well, no half moons under your nails. So, your nails should be short and clean. The sisters should not wear chipped nail polish. If you don't have time to do your nails, then you should wear clear polish. Ears, when they talk about hygiene in ears, no meal in your ears, no butter on your teeth. Your hair should be groomed every day, and you want to remove the daily bacteria through bathing. That's all that is when it talks about self respect. You know, our elders tell us, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, but you have to wear clean underwear at all times in case an accident happens and you have to go to the hospital. You don't want that type of embarrassment. So those are one of the basic rules. You remove the bacteria from your body on a daily basis, and you make sure that your underclothes are clean. undergarments back to wash and wear or iron. If you went to school with rough, dry clothes on, my first impression was that your electricity is off. Somebody's not paying the bill at home. But there are students, especially when I was over the University of Memphis, students from New York would come in and it was like second nature. You didn't have to iron your clothes. You got out of bed, at least washed your face, and you put on whatever clothes were available without ironing them. And so those types of things all are encompassed in what we call self-respect. So I personally want to just mention these things so that everyone will understand when you go on an interview, first and foremost, show self-respect and common courtesies, because that's all it is. And that just means that you came from a home that taught you home training and manners. That's it. Second part of this presentation would be about hard skills, which takes a little bit longer because we're talking about goals and working towards your goals and not being stressed out or putting yourself in an environment that keeps you depressed or around people that are negative that'll bring you down. All of this is encompassed in the two components, soft skills and hard skills. And so without going into part two, that's my conclusion on part one. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Madam Director. What a wonderful introduction to soft skills. Our second speaker, let me bring up the evaluator for it. Dr. Distinguished Toastmaster, Junshi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Horace. And let me introduce the second speaker will be Jonathan Chen. If I speak your last name wrong, please apologize. Jonathan has been a long time at this Gavel Club, and this is his second speech towards the CC manual. The speech title is regarding his competition in robotics. As a young student, will be exciting to go to those academic competition. Let me introduce Jonathan to give his presentation about his experience.
Good afternoon, members and Toastmasters. This year, our school had the privilege to compete in the First Tech Challenge, or FTC, which is an international robotics competition. As the Arkansas State Championships are approaching for us next week, I'll reflect on my experiences so far and share my two takeaways in this speech. First, robotics is often called the sport of the mind and can be thought of as a hybrid of chess, debate, and football. Performing well requires the critical thinking and the strategy of a chess match, the research and communication skills of debate, and the teamwork and competition of a football game. Each year, students and mentors collaborate to design, build, and program a robot to play seasonal games. Teams are put to the test at competitions where the robots compete head-to-head to earn the most points. This year's game is titled Power Play. The objective is to lift and score cones onto poles varying in height. In addition, there is an autonomous period in which the robot does not have driver input, and this proves to be both a big mechanical and software challenge for us. Robotics taught me so many skills and provided me with professional and personal growth. Here are two big things that first taught me. First is the importance of the scientific method or project management. Research strategy, design, building, reiterating, critical thinking, and problem solving are all encompassed in the scientific method. Before designing, the first step in any project is research and strategy. Our team sifted through an ocean of online resources from game manuals to guides, familiarizing ourselves with FTC. Unfortunately, We boys couldn't wait to start building, so we jumped right in, and we oversaw really crucial design issues without a comprehensive plan of action. And boy, there were a couple of annoying setbacks. We first started on the chassis, which is the framework of the body, or framework of the robot. Initially, the motors were run by chain, and we spent hours in the bike shop breaking, sizing, and reassembling the right length of chain to run the wheels. The result was a cranky, noisy, and inefficient drivetrain. After visiting teams in Dallas, we noticed that everyone was using belt drive, which is a smoother and more reliable system. So we had to disassemble the entire robot and replace these chains. After constructing the chassis, we started working on our lift. We ordered a slide mechanism from the company Gavel, only to realize that the screws and the motor gear ratio were not the same as the parts that the chassis was constructed from. To visualize the problem, I learned CAD, which is 3D designing, and I custom designed and 3D printed an adapter that could be used to attach the arm. FTC taught me the importance of research and thorough planning in achieving project success, and I've applied this lesson to other adventures in my life. Number 2 is collaboration and communication. Each team has several engineering groups. Ours had programming, hardware, and outreach, and good communication among teammates and other teams is essential. As a programmer and assisting in hardware, I'd often have to explain how we designed a part or a system to someone who is building the physical parts, physical pieces, or writing the software to run them. For example, when I trained a model to recognize APRO tags, which are simplified QR codes, and this is using a webcam to detect the APRO tags, so machine learning, I explained the technical details to a teammate who needed to implement my code into autonomous driving. Communication with other teams was equally as important, especially as a first-year rookie team with little to no experience in the field of robotics and FTC. In addition to research, we reached out to local teams to learn as much as we could. At weekend scrimmages, we approached other teams with problems we had, benefiting from each other and making new friends in the spirit of gracious professionalism. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and several teams were more than willing to help us out, even donating spare parts. My experience with FIRST Robotics provided a strong foundation on how to collaborate with my teammates as a strong, cohesive team and taught me the value of effective communication. FIRST Robotics taught me valuable lessons, and I'm thankful for the opportunity I have to participate. I would encourage everyone to get involved in FTC. The experiences gained can give you the opportunity to explore your interests and start a tool belt of skills that will be helpful in any major or career field. If you are too old to participate yourself, you could volunteer as a mentor or as a sponsor of the team to provide opportunities for students of all ages to get firsthand experiences in STEM. You won't regret it, and wish us luck. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Excellent. What do you mean if we're too old to participate? We can use exoskeletons, right? Now we're going to move on into our table topics session. And so let me bring up our topics master for the day, Joseph.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and let's begin our table topic session. Okay, so my first question of today is, how would you spend your ideal day? And this question is for Tim, if you're there.
Was the question, how would you spend your ideal day?
Yes.
For my ideal day, I'd say it would be, I'll just list out a schedule, I guess. It'd be from the morning, I'd say 7 would be a good time to wake up and then eat breakfast. After breakfast, if it's not a school day, which is the best ideal day for me, I would then go, I'd say probably do something fun for the first hour or so after eating breakfast and just kind of relaxing. And then after that, it should be around about 8 to 8:30. After then, I should probably do something productive, and maybe if this was not a school day, which would it would be the weekend, so then maybe finish some of the homework I didn't finish, or just read a bit. Then after that, it would be around 9 or so. And at that time, I'd take another break after working and reading. Then it'd probably be lunch, and that'd be, I'd say lunch is my favorite time of the day, as it is the day you can kind of time a day you can kind of get your most energy, kind of relax around while eating. And then the sun's also out, which is nice. And then around 1 or so, I'd probably go outside or do something outdoor activities so I don't stay home all day. And after that, I say I go back in, rest a bit after maybe playing some sports or something. And after that, I'd probably take another turn at studying or finishing any work that I haven't finished, and kind of using that as a time to do stuff. And then after that, I just kind of relax for the rest of the day and eat dinner and then go back to sleep. That would be my ideal type of day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, for your insight on your ideal day. It sounds like a very fun and relaxing one. Okay, so my next question is, what is something you eat that other people would find gross? And this question is for Miss Keisha Dancy.
Interesting question, Joseph. What do I eat or have eaten that other people may find gross? Well, I'm gonna give you the really gross part of this conversation. This something I've eaten in my travels. I've tried when I was in Cambodia. I ate a plate, and I wish I could show pictures. It had a rattlesnake on it. It had a cockroach.
That's enough.
A spider. There was two types of spiders. Chicken feet, frog legs, what we call a water bug, and it was a couple of other items. I ate it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not something I eat on a regular basis, but because I was out of country traveling and I try to explore, I try to do unique things, go to unique places, have unique experiences. And it wasn't just any plate that was put together, it was actually a restaurant that caters to this unique palate. The food was grilled. I must say, all of it was good except the chicken feet, which was cold. And one of the spiders, yeah, I didn't eat the body. Someone that was sitting at the table next to me took the body of the spider off my plate and ate it. And yeah, I think the spider might have been pregnant at one point. So that is my experience with eating something unusual that some people would think was like very unusual and gross. Back to you. Thank you.
You're right.
Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience. I I think I would eat everything but the spider. I don't like spiders. Okay. My next question is, if you could live forever, would you want to, and why? And this question is for Mr. Junshi.
Yeah, the previous question is really interesting me. So instead, I want to take the second question. Some foods I ate, and not so many people know I ate a lot when I grew up. I grew up in a very rural place in China, so we don't have a lot of food to eat, and we happen to have some chicken lay eggs. So what I did is I secret, and when our parents are not at home, and I would just check if there's a fresh egg over there, and I would knock a small hole and I use the straw, poke inside and suck it out. And after finishing, I'll normally put it back. So I hope my parents didn't find out. But most of the cases, my parents still find out. Uh, I I remember those kind of moments vividly every day. And sometimes I share with my friend, they thought not only the egg is gross, but the stealing the most precious food from the family is very gross. So I thank you very much for this question. To help me to bring up this sweet memory when I grew up as a kid. Thank you, Topic Master.
I'd be afraid to eat with June Shi and Keisha dancing. Wow.
Thank you for sharing your experience and your memories as well. Okay, I will then direct my question on if you could live forever, would you want to and why? To Xavier.
Thank you for the question. If I had the chance to be able to live forever, would I would not. Because at first, or face, when you first hear it, you'd be, yes, I get to live forever. But after a certain time, all the people you know will pass on, and there's not really much to do. If you say travel around the world with all this time you have and explore everywhere there is to explore, and all the people you know and love have passed on, then you're kind of just there, living on forever, just wandering. At first, having the chance to be able to live forever would sound fun, but after a while, it just doesn't seem like there's much left for it. So, no, I would not want to live forever. Thank you for the question.
Fair point, Xavier. Okay. My next question is for Miss Britton, and it is, what fruit or vegetable would you most want to be?
Which fruit?
Yes. Which fruit or vegetable would you most want to be?
Man, I love my watermelon. It's a whole food. It's full of alkaline water. It has all of those nutrients in it that a man can live off of. In fact, that's one of the fruits that uh, in Africa they said, what one fruit could a grown man eat and get full? And it was always the watermelon, and he would be healthy because of all the nutrients and the alkaline water that's in it. So that's what I would want to be. I would want to be nourishing for my family and my community and anyone else that wanted to restore their health or just stay healthy. It's my opinion that the watermelon is probably the best fruit on the planet. It's just seasonal. But that's what I would like. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you for your answer, Miss Britton. And do we have time for one more? Okay, cool. All right. My next question is, what is your most striking physical attribute? And this question is for Mr. Horace Taylor.
My most striking physical attribute. Let me see if I can display it and show it and see if everybody agrees. Get ready for this, guys.
I'm looking at Xavier now.
I think it's my smile, perhaps. Yes, my smile, and here is why. When I was young, up until the age 14, I believe I counted 32 teeth. By the time I was 18, I had lost all 32 teeth. So the teeth that you see me smiling with now, they are robotic teeth. I can't even work my gums like this. This is all robotics. If I think it, it moves like that. That's why I was so intrigued by his robotics discussion. My teeth are not real teeth. There are no veins or nerve endings in them. They are all programmed. I can program them myself, and I can make them chatter like this really fast, and it's really funny to see. But that's the way age we are in now. So my most striking feature must be my teeth, because they are robotic. I'm gonna change the programming right quick and give you a quick demonstration. Back to you.
Thank you for sharing your wonderful teeth and your wonderful smile. Definitely very interesting. And that is the end of our table topic session. So I'll give it back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful table topic session we had today. Excellent. Keisha, I didn't know. I just didn't know. Wow. Tony, if I would have answered your question, I would have said I would have been anything that both Keisha and June would eat on their plate. Let them name it. That's the fruit or vegetable I would be. Okay, now let's get on with the evaluation section. Our first speaker was Miss Tony. She gave us almost an impromptu hip pocket speech, and she laid out what soft skills or soft power, like we speak of it in the military, is, versus hard skills and hard power, which is to come. Here's what I really liked about the speech. You identified those two topics, soft power or soft skills and hard skills. And then you proceeded to tell us just what soft skills are. I didn't think about it from the definition that you gave. I was thinking in general, but you hit some specific items. And I said, wow, I never even thought about it like that. So every day that I go to work, I master that soft skill of communicating with people, showing empathy as you described it. Now, the one thing that I would say to note in your presentation, if you go back and look through the presentation, you will see where you have in quotations, you will see only 3 quotation marks. When we have quotation marks, as you know, it's a pair, but yet in this one sentence, it's 3. And then I said, oh, that was just an oversight. And then the next page came up and the same 3. I said, okay, nobody proofread your slides before you deliver them to us. So now just double check the quotation marks. And that's a wonderful presentation. And I can't wait to hear hard skills.
I would like to share. That topic, soft skills. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster, 7-time Britnum. That was a very helpful topic. You defined what soft skills were. You provided examples of soft skills, and you also explained in some areas why those specific skills were needed, how to use them. And then you also gave, in addition to your examples, the right way and I guess the incorrect way as far as being able to use those soft skills. And so, like distinguished Toastmaster Taylor, I am definitely looking forward to the topic on hard skills. As a matter of fact, I would love to have that presentation.
Thank you. Our second evaluator, watch him drop it on you. Hard skills.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. And but again, I should have thanked Jonathan deliver a wonderful speech. As a long-time Toastmaster, every meeting will bring a lot of joy. Those kind of experience that nobody can divest away from you. So when you come, Jonathan demonstrate the skill he developed in this environment. First, I will say this project is try to help you organize your speech. He has a very good big introduction. So this project is come from the school and what is the purpose of the project and what kind of main thing he can learn. Then in the middle of he presented two major points and have very clear structure. Say the first biggest thing is the scientific learning, and the other one is the collaboration. And at the end, he put inside of the conclusion, hey, this is a nice play, a presentation, nice skill to learn, a good experience. And also, he wanted to give you something to take away, encourage people can gain the same stuff he gained from this project. So he gets a lot of good things uh, achieve the organization purpose. One thing I will say, I give a little bit kind of suggestion as I learned from this one. When you have of the complete script before you, it's a good thing. You make you comfortable and you confidence. But at the same time, you begin to depend on as you move on to the project. At the very end, you feel a little bit tired, and then you begin to read the script. So my suggestion is instead of put the script in front of you, you put the outline, the index card in front of you. Then you can lift up your eye and look at it and your hand gesture. You totally got a freedom. That's probably that I would suggest you can work on this kind of thing. And the second thing, small thing, at the end, and you try to share your excitement you learn from this one, but you add say, hey, uh, anybody is welcome to experience the same thing. So it's not a bad thing, but when you put the two things at the end, so you look like you try to present too many things. So people will say, hey, what's the purpose of this presentation? So you want a focus point and a main point, and then make this speech be well done. But overall, I'm very impressed. I don't want to divest the excitement from you by my recommendation. But thank you. Well done. Mhm.
Excellent. Well done. Totally proper evaluation. Oh, why didn't I call on my general evaluator to lead us through that? Oh my, that's why you're showing up. Let me divest myself out of this mess.
I just want to comment one thing on Jonathan. I think Jonathan was an excellent English student. I mean, his vocabulary was impeccable. There were no filler words. I love some of the phrases that he used,
Amen.
how he used collaborative and cohesiveness and ocean of info and a tool belt of skills. So, Jonathan, you're just too impressive. I mean, I'm just pleased. And I look forward to hearing your next presentation. In fact, all of them, because, I mean, perfect English. Congratulations. Great job.
Oh, but I do have one question to ask you. I saw you email address and the school uniform of you wearing. That is a very good school your parents send you to. Well reputation. Yes.
My mom works there as a Mandarin Chinese teacher.
Yeah.
Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Taylor. So we've already had our evaluations. I will now call on do we have a grammarian and eye counter?
And that was me. And I was so focused on Jonathan because I mean, there were just no filler words. I didn't hear him use the word divest, but I did hear it used a couple of times by not June Shi and Horace, I think. But at any rate, this group has no problem with the misuse of the English language. The grammar is just par excellent as far as I'm concerned. So that's my report as far as the grammarian's report, which included all of Jonathan's accolades. I'm just too impressed with him. But that's my report, general evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Grammarian and our counter. I will now go to our timer.
First up, we have Miss Tony, a little bit over time at 9 minutes and 5 seconds. But that's all right. It was an excellent speech.
On my speech, it was 9 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to check your time. I'll accept that. Because I wanted to be 5 to 7, so thank you for giving me that time, Xavier.
Okay. And next up, we have Mr. Jonathan for 5 minutes, 26 seconds inside the time. And we had our table topics. Mr. Tim was up first, 1 minute, 42 seconds. Miss Keisha with 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Mr. June, 1 minute, 24 seconds. Me was around 1 minute. Miss Tony was at 42 seconds. And Mr. Horace at 1 minute, 17 seconds. For our evaluations, Mr. Horace is at 2 minutes and 20 seconds with the added 56 seconds from Miss Keisha. So it's 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And Mr. June with 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Thank you. Back to you, Miss General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. We have our evaluations, our timers, and our reports from our grammarian and our counter. I will give a brief overview from when I came into the meeting. It appears all the roles were filled. As a Toastmaster, a future Toastmasters, we wear many hats, so sometimes we have to be flexible and adaptable, and I think we did a great job with that today. The meeting started on time. It appears that it will be ending on time. Great speeches, information, educational. I did give a brief feedback for Distinguished Toastmasters written speech. Jonathan, you pretty much a lot of what the others said, I definitely agree. I did enjoy, I wrote that quote down, or not necessarily a quote, but when you were doing your research, sifting through an ocean. So I related to that, as I sometimes say, I research, it was never ending. So I kind of understood that. Like June, she said, your introduction was great, your takeaways, you defined what robotics was, you gave examples, you also talked about how it's similar to a chess match and football. So I definitely appreciate that. I'm definitely impressed as well. I'm not tech savvy, but I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you, madam. What a wonderful meeting we had. We have less than 2 minutes and we have 2 things to accomplish. Roles for next week and a list of names for those who will participate in Camp Expo booth or participate at the Camp Expo booth on March 4th. Smile, 3. Excellent. Now, roles for next week, and if you're planning to attend the Camp Expo booth, we need names.
I think Peter should be back.
Okay, that's one for Peter. How about Xavier? We haven't heard him speak in a while. Other than functionary role, we need a speech out of you.
Okay. Don't say it, Xavier. Don't say it.
I take that smile as a yes. We have 2 speakers. Do I have a third? How about Mrs. Tim? I remember Mrs. Tim, the last one we got from you, you introduced origami to us all. And that was a wonderful. Maybe you want to come with the part 2 to that, or you'll demonstrate it for us. Okay, so we have 3 speakers for next week, right? Peter, Xavier, and Mr. Tim. Check. All 5 to 7 minute speeches? Excellent.